That'll get the blood pumping on a cold Saturday morning, on a cold winter's morning. Welcome, everybody. Here we go. We are into hour number 2, numero dos of Matt Connarton Unleashed, our first show of 2025. Today is Saturday, January 4, 2025. Jenny is here as well, of course, at the news table.
Present and accounted for.
And we have joining us live in studio. And again, if you are just joining us, forgive my my voice. I'm still recovering from my recent.
It sounds cute.
I don't think it does. I'm very frustrated at my cracking voice, but still recovering.
You're 15 again.
Still recovering from my recent asthma incident. But we have joining us live in studio. The guys from Scarecrow Hill are here. How are you guys? Welcome.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Thank you for having us.
Absolutely. I'm excited to talk to you. I really love your sound, as we were talking off air, and that track is great. Is that the now that's from the new album, of course, A Death in the Family?
Yes.
Excellent. So why don't we we'll start in the corner here, and if we could just go around the room and you can each tell us who you are, what you do in the band, and any other pertinent information.
I'm Tyler. I sing.
Okay.
I'm Joe, lead guitar player.
Okay.
I am Brendan. I am the drummer.
Okay.
I'm Joe. I'm the bass player.
Okay. And is it just the four of you?
No, we actually, Dominic, our rhythm guitar player, couldn't be with us today.
Okay. Okay.
He's
Gotcha.
home.
Gotcha. Yeah, you guys have a big sound. You know what I like about that track too? You're not in any hurry to get to the end of it.
No.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that riff just keeps going for a while. And I think that's kind of a lost thing. Like, I don't hear a lot of, I feel like we live in a time where a lot of bands, it's like, you know, I don't know if it's because everybody thinks that people have short attention spans or whatever, but it's like, okay, a couple of choruses and we'll end it or we'll fade it out. But you guys kind of take your time with it and groove on that for a while. And I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun coming up with that ending, and
Yeah.
we loved the riffs that they did, so we wanted to kind of stretch that out.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. No, that's really cool. How long has Scarecrow Hill been around?
Oh, gosh.
It says 03.
For what matters, since 2018.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, but there was a version of the band that existed before that?
There was, Joel and I started the band in 2003.
Okay.
Actually. And,
Okay.
we went till about 2014.
Oh.
And then we had split up, and then at the end of 2018, beginning of 2019, we got back together with these guys.
Oh, okay. Now what caused the return?
Brendan and Joe.
Okay.
We met them, and the way they played the music, we were just like, we need to do this again.
When the band ended the first time after you said what about a 10-year run?
Yeah.
The first time. Did you always kind of know that it would be back someday, or was it like, no, that's it? And
I think
moving on?
we kind of secretly hoped.
Yeah.
But we didn't really know what was going to happen either ways.
Okay. So everything on the new album is the current lineup, the 5 of
Yep.
you. Yeah. Excellent. Yeah, because I was pretty sure, because when Jenny, Jenny does all the booking for the show, and when she mentioned Scarecrow Hill, I was like, that's a familiar name from, like, I think back when I was still playing.
Yeah.
But I wasn't 100% sure. And then when I saw online, it looked, like I saw the new album, and then I didn't find. Does the old material, does that survive? Like, or have you left that kind of in that other era?
We've tried pretty hard to get rid of that.
Have you really? Yeah, yeah.
There's still one record out there from like 2012 that we're pretty all right with that still being around, but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
everything else, I've worked pretty hard to just quiet as much as possible.
No kidding. So like actively suppress it? Like you don't even want, no kidding. Interesting. Why is that? Like, do you just feel that the sound has evolved so much? And
Yeah, just everything about the band. Like I said, it was when Joel and Dom and I came back to the band, and we hooked up with Joe and Brendan here. It was just like we didn't care about the past anymore. It's this is our band.
Yeah, yeah. I've been in situations, like, I don't play anymore. I used to be in a bunch of bands, and I'd been in situations where, maybe there'd been some sort of a transformation and an evolution, and then there's that inevitable conversation about, do we change the name?
Yeah.
And I remember I was in a specific band. I was in a band called My Life Crisis, and I remember actually having that argument with, when we had a big shift in personnel. And the guys kind of wanted to, our sound kind of changed. Let's change the name. And I fought for keeping the name because I was like, well, look, people know us as this. I understand it's a different band, kind of, but we've built up this name. Not that we ever got anywhere big or anything, but I felt there was value in our name. Like, was that was that a conversation amongst you guys? Do we be Scarecrow Hill or do we do something, or do we be something new?
I don't think we ever even discussed it, really.
Really? Yeah.
Scarecrow Hill was kind of like such a long standing name and entity
Yeah.
for Ty.
Yeah.
And Ty being kind of our fearless leader, that's like we go as he goes.
Yeah. No, and that makes sense. I mean, you've got equity in that, so, and like I said, I remembered it. It was familiar to me when Jenny mentioned it. I thought you guys had been around for a while. So I think that makes sense. We're gonna play something a little bit later that's really interesting in terms of there's a bit of a surprise. Well, a couple surprises in the track, but I'm curious about how you describe your sound, because obviously you kind of fit in the metal genre broadly, but of course you have all these subgenres and whatnot. But your approach, especially from what I was reading online, your approach is a little bit different in terms of my impression is you're not trying to be one specific thing.
No.
You're
I think it's boring.
Yeah, exactly. Because most metal bands do try to be one specific thing. But has that always been your approach, to kind of be open to different influences? And
Yeah, I think absolutely, because when you've got, 5 personalities and 5 sets of influences and 5 musical directions that everybody wants to go, I think you kind of have to have the open air for that to happen. And
yeah,
I'm like the least metal guy in the world, man.
Really?
I like the Beatles and Tech Nine, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah,
it's not.
yeah.
So these guys teach me a lot about the metal genre and the metal community, and we've all kind of had to work together, and it just makes it so that, when Joe puts his stamp on something, and then Dominic comes in, and Joel, and it is so many sounds.
Yeah.
It makes it cool for us.
Yeah. Does that happen? I assume that happens kind of organically, right? It sounds like it. You don't say, we need to try to shove this other influence into this song, but it just kind of happens.
Yeah.
I think it kind of depends. Like the way when I'm writing, a lot of the time I'll be inspired by like a particular song or like an idea that exists in a song.
Yeah.
So sometimes I'll take that as a starting point and kind of like build a demo around that idea. But like the inspiration comes from so many different directions sometimes that like to not have to pigeonhole into like we have to sound like such and such.
Right.
It's kind of freeing in terms of inspirational direction.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. Your live show too, I would imagine, is pretty energetic, to match your.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Yeah. I'll just leave it at that. I'm trying to keep it radio friendly, but we have a lot of fun and we try to keep it very high energy.
Yeah, yeah.
But the live show too, I think, is very, very organic.
Yeah.
Like there's no choreograph or anything like that. We just kind of go into it knowing that we're with our team, and like we just see what happens. And
Yeah.
just try to rock out, man. Like a little bit of old school and the new school.
Yeah, yeah. When you guys play out, do you have opportunities to play with bands that you played with like way back in the day, or?
Shockingly, yes.
I suspected as much, because I can tell you just doing this. We've had guests on the show or talked to people about coming on who I'm like, I didn't even know. Wow, like I remember doing shows with them like 20 years ago, and they're back. That's really cool. Like who are some of the bands that you guys get to play with that you played with back then?
So a lot of times it might not even be necessarily be a whole band, but like even just last night, we got to play over here at the Shaskeen, which what a great little room. That was a lot of fun.
Oh yeah.
I love them.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
What a great place. So Rags to Stitches, shout out to our boys from New Hampshire. They had put the show on,
Nice.
and their bass player is a guy that we have been playing with in different bands. I mean, since me and Joel were kids, like we
Yeah.
grew up playing shows with this guy, and
Yeah.
he's still out there doing it. We're still out there doing it 20 years later. So like there's a lot of that, but like, a lot of bands unfortunately don't stay around as long. But
Right.
the musicians do, and we'll get out there and get to see this guy. Like, oh, you used to be in this band that we toured with, and that stuff's a lot of fun. It's really cool.
Oh, that's really cool. Did we have Rags to Stitches? Did we have them on? You remember? I feel like we did.
I'm not positive. I'd have to go back and look.
I think we might have. Yeah.
If not, you should.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely. If you haven't,
Or
you should.
the name has come up on the
Yeah.
maybe that might be it. The name might have come up on the show before. Yeah. Are you guys playing out a lot or?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, we've been very, very busy. Which
Good.
is very
Good.
nice.
Excellent. And how long has this album been out? This is pretty new, right?
Yeah, July, August,
Something like that.
end of the summer.
Less than a year, more than a month.
Okay. Okay. Cool. Where do you record?
We do it in-house.
That's awesome because it sounds like I'm always curious, because we live in a time where you've got so many different options in terms of how you record, and there's so many great studios around, but you can also do it yourself. And it sounds like it was recorded in $1 million studio.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So it's really impressive. Like, do you have a home studio? Does one of you have a home studio set up, or what's the approach?
We kind of, each of us has our own little setup at home where
Yeah.
we'll do some demos, but when it comes time to like actually cut the final thing, we have a decent setup at the band, like our practice space, where we track everything in.
Wow.
And then once that's all done, we take it to our guy Joe Clapp, who's got like a really nice professional studio, and he mixes it and masters it for us.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. Yeah, it's cool that you're able to do it that way. I'm old enough to remember, and some of you might be, when your only options were really like you could record demos at home on your Tascam,
Your 4-track.
and then but then you then go spend a ton of money in a studio to do everything there. And
Me and Brendan were joking on the way over here because we rode together, and we're a couple years younger than the rest of the guys in the band.
Yeah.
We were joking about, Ty had mentioned before how one of the early Scarecrow Hill demos was done on an answering machine. And
Really?
how far it's come in the way that you can get like really high quality recordings at home for like a pretty relatively affordable price compared to even like 5 or 10 years ago.
Yep.
Where it was, the barrier to entry was so high.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, that's funny though. The answering machine. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, it makes sense though.
I remember going to the public library and running off covers for the cassette tapes we were dubbing.
No kidding.
There was no distribution around here that anybody could afford or anything back then.
Right, exactly.
It's like
Exactly.
if you knew a band that had CDs, they were like big time.
Yeah.
Even over the course of the years, just doing this. Well, I've been at WMNH for, I think it'll be 8 years in April, but I've been interviewing bands for a lot longer. And we were talking to somebody last week on the show about how when I first started doing this, like bands would usually show up with a CD. Now of course you can just email everything, and the move was very often it would be just like a CDR with Sharpie written on it. These are the songs we want to feature on the show, and they'd hand it to me on their finger. It wouldn't even be in a case. And
Yep.
those were the days.
Yeah.
We actually have. I don't use it, but we do have a functioning CD player here.
Oh,
But
that's awesome.
yeah,
I love that.
one of the guys, Rob. I don't know if you know Rob Azevedo. He hosts a show here called Granite State of Mind, and he uses it occasionally. But he's kind of old school with that. But the new album, is it available on CD or is it only on streaming platforms?
This one is only on streaming platforms. We have 3 other records that we take physical copies out on the road with us, but this
Okay.
new one we wanted to try just to see first
Yeah.
how it did as digital only, and figured maybe if it keeps doing as well as it's doing, we'll probably end up doing some physical copies.
Yeah. I want to play. So I surprised you guys with this. I made a radio edit of this track, That Little Voice, featuring Adam Ramey. So a couple things about it that really grabbed me. One is I just find the subject very relatable. Talking about that little voice that so many of us have in our heads that tries to kind of drag us down and tell us a lot of negative things, negative self-talk and all that. So I think a lot of people can really relate to the lyrics. The other thing that's really interesting to me is what's going on in the chorus,
Yeah.
which is very unusual, and it's cool. I was like, what? Oh, that's interesting. And it's got and tell me about but we'll talk about that part after we play it. But tell me too about Adam Ramey.
Adam's amazing. So Adam is one of the vocalists for the band Dropout Kings.
Okay.
And he's the range that this man has where he can, he does the dirty vocals, screaming stuff. He does these absolutely beautiful, powerful lead vocals, and then we've done a few shows together over the years, and we had talked a few times about doing a track. So when I sent him this, he said, "Well, what do you want me to do with it?" I said, "Well, we trust you. Like, your range is ridiculous." And this was the last thing we were expecting.
Yeah.
We were like, "Wow, this all right." Like he went different with this, and we were super excited about it. But he's just one of those guys that he can do anything, and he's so much fun to work with on this.
Yeah. Very cool. So this is, of course, from the new album, A Death in the Family. We'll give this a spin. This is called That Little Voice featuring Adam Ramey, and this is Scarecrow Hill.
I got this voice up inside of my head telling me I should be more bloody. I'm punishing everybody who's ever even thought of taking another thing from me. You're scared to stand on the battlefield, but I keep telling you all of my boots have been muddy. The biggest surprise of my entire life is still that I managed to all in my 20s. No matter how hard that I work and no matter how much I have risen above, I hear these whispers all day in my ear telling me that my best is still not good enough. So I keep pushing and fighting, I'm stuck in this hole. Everybody stood back when I dug. Then these seems like other voices, they tell me that I should just quit and give up. I swear to God, sometimes in my head all I hear are the ghosts of my past. I hate to tell you there's no peace and quiet, it doesn't exist when you're haunted like that. Every day my brain keeps telling me everyone I love will someday stab me in the back. I spend my whole life just spinning in circles, cause I'm not be ready when they attack. There's way too many voices. There's way too many voices. I got these voices inside of my head telling me I can never be saved. And if I keep fighting and if I keep trying, I'm gonna find myself in an early grave. But it's okay, cause I got another one telling me nobody cares anyway. And if I die tomorrow, there won't be no sorrow, no one will even remember my name. I have a darkness inside of me that I have never been able to fight. And he keeps telling me it doesn't matter, cause nothing that I ever do will be right. I hear a voice inside telling me I don't deserve happiness in my life, cause I put some evil out into the world and it's making sure I never live in the light. I got this voice in the back of my mind telling me that I'll never be. I got this voice in the back of my mind and I hate that son of a bitch. Every day my brain keeps telling me everything I love is barely hanging by a stitch. I spend my whole life just spinning in circles trying to catch it while it still exists. There's way too many voices. There's way too many voices. These little voices are screaming at me that I'm not the one you really want. I remember the way that you looked at me in the beginning. I hate that it's gone. The truth of the matter is this terrible situation has gone on too long. I wish that somebody had told me I was losing myself before I was lost. I got this voice in my head telling me that the shadows I'm seeing are real. My brain is always fighting with my heart because I cannot trust what I feel. I keep the weight on my shoulders to myself the same way the weight on my hip is concealed. Sometimes I get in the booth and I let it all out, but you know I'm just breaking the seal. I got the voice in the back of my mind and we're trying to kill each other. I got this voice in the back of my mind and I hate that motherfucker. Every day my brain keeps telling me all that I have to look forward to is more regrets. I spend my whole life just spinning in circles cause I can't get the hell out of my head. There's way too many voices. There's way too many voices. There's way too many voices. Shut up! I need a little peace. Too many people in my head are killing me. Shut up! I need to concentrate. Don't even recognize this man, but I hate his face. Shut up! I need a little peace. Too many voices in my head is suffocating me.
That is That Little Voice featuring Adam Ramey. And the band is Scarecrow Hill with us in studio this morning. Yeah, so tell me about that, guys. Tell me about that chorus. Because was that something Adam did?
Yeah,
He did that? Yeah.
We had sent him the basic demo of the track, and I hadn't even laid my vocals yet.
Yeah.
He had just, what do you want me to do? I said, well, we trust you, man. Like, obviously, we're fans, and we know the things you're capable of. And
Yeah.
he sent that back, and he was like, I hope you dig it. He was like, because I love this. He was like, I think it's one of my favorite features I've done. And I was so taken back by it. I was like, wow, I'm going to rewrite everything I had because, I need my stuff to be cooler now.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah.
So that caused you to rewrite your part. And
Absolutely.
Yeah. The chorus is, I think we were talking about it off air. It's like nothing I've ever heard. It's such a unique sound. Now, Joe, you were saying too, so what do you, the genre that you call,
Yeah, so we were talking
Scarecrow.
about genre before. I think if for Scarecrow Hill, if you were kind of to nail it down to something, we kind of use the tagline hip hop death rock.
okay.
So Ty especially has a lot of hip hop influences. So, in a song like that, you can hear the rapping, and that's a lot of the songs that we do have a lot of hip hop influence to it. So we try to have a groove and a bounce to a lot of, while it might be a heavy riff, it can be broken down into a groove that grooves.
Yeah. Okay. No, well put. Yeah. No, that makes sense to me. No, that's a great, do you play that live or is it hard to do without,
We haven't.
Yeah, we haven't played that one live.
We might. Someday.
Yeah. No, that's really good. Also another track, maybe we'll play it at the end if we have time, but, you do a cover on this that I really like on the new album. Of course, we should mention again, A Death in the Family. We're in this together now. And I remember looking at the track list and I was like, I wonder if that's an original or if that's a Nine Inch Nails cover. And I listened to it and, man, you sing the hell out of that.
Thank you.
Yeah. It's really, there's an emotion to it. There's almost like a desperation that comes across in your vocal. I don't know if that's what you're going for, probably, but
it happens. I've actually heard that several times about several songs that we do.
yeah.
Which I think I take that as a pretty huge compliment because
Oh, yeah.
I don't I've never been one of those guys that can just sing a cover song.
Yeah.
It's got to be something that really resonates with me. It's got to be something that means something.
Yeah. No, I was playing it. It was like, wow, I really, really feel this, Was that challenging to sing?
Yeah, yes and no. It's yes in the fact that it's it's pretty up there and it's a hard song in general, but
Yeah.
personally, Trent Reznor has been one of my biggest vocal influences ever.
Yeah.
And I've been singing that song for as long as I can remember.
Oh, have you? Yeah.
When I finally get into the booth with it, and I was like, wow, all right, this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. No, it came out great. Came out great. Is there any kind of a theme to the album? I mean, it's got a pretty ominous title, A Death in the Family. I'm curious about, does the title have any meaning specifically, and is there a theme to this album?
We had gone through a small lineup change. Since 2018, we did a trilogy of records, Not Dead Yet, Never Say Die, and Until Death. And
Okay.
that was it was just kind of about everything that was going on at the time, and as well as kind of not necessarily a promise or an oath or something, but something that we did for each other. Like this is it. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
And we, for a while, were a 6-member band, and that fizzled away. And that became a Death in the Family as a way to just kind of put closure on that chapter.
Oh, okay.
And then the things that we have coming now are moving on to the next chapter.
Okay. So this band was a 6-piece at one point.
Yeah,
What-
for a few years.
Oh, wow. What did the other member do? The 6?
Little percussion, some backup vocals, just kind of an auxiliary member.
Yeah.
Which was fun. It was a great thing to have, but I think all it really did was just kind of solidify our 5-member band and
Yeah.
kind of prove to us that we didn't necessarily need anybody else there with us.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know from my own experience, it's hard. It can be hard enough, like with a 5-piece or even a 4-piece, it can be hard enough trying to work with everyone's schedules and everyone's got lives and trying to book shows and everything. So I can only imagine with a 6-piece what that was like. As some of the, it's funny, we have a lot of singer-songwriters on the show, and very often there are people who used to play in bands who, they get to a point where it just becomes too much to manage, so then they decide to do their own thing, and just and not have to deal with all the. Somebody said to me, I forget who it was who said it on the show, that being in a band with 4 other people is like being in 4 relationships. It's like being in a relationship with 4 other people who are all in a relationship with 4 other people.
That is so true.
Yeah.
That is so true.
I wish I could remember who said it so I could give them credit, but I thought it was a great insight. But you guys have a lot going on with, you're playing a lot, and is it hard to manage all that with a 5-piece band, or?
I think it would be more difficult if we weren't as tight knit.
Yeah.
But the fact that, we're a team.
Yeah.
And we work very hard to make sure that, maybe we can't grab every opportunity. Like today with Dominic not being able to be here, but Dominic also very much understood, and, you guys go do this. I have to do some other things right now.
Yeah.
And that's usually the way it always goes, is we work very hard to make sure that it's amicable for everyone.
Mm-hmm.
And that we're amicable to everyone. There might not be a show Joe's crazy about playing, but he believes in his band, and he's here for his band, so we make that work.
Yeah.
Right. And I think another thing too is that, I've been in bands before where, and it's just like Ty said, with the team dynamic on like a sports team, or in a lot of situations, there's, leadership, and there's not followers, but like people who look up to the leader.
Yeah.
And Ty, being the leader, he does the booking. He has the majority of the connections. And he kind of sets the schedule for us. We've all kind of committed Sunday. Sunday afternoons is band day. That's when we get together. That's when we practice. We talk about band business. And then we've got a group calendar that, if there's a date that anybody can't do something, we put it in the group calendar. And then other than that, it's basically free reign.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Ty knows to, he does right by us in not booking something that's going to totally,
Derail everybody.
yeah, derail everybody's lives, because, as much as we'd all love to be the full-time touring bands and everything, it's so hard to get to that level. So,
Sure.
we got day jobs.
Yeah, of course. Do you guys how far do you go in terms of when you're playing shows? Like you said, you're playing a lot. Do you get out of New England? Do you go?
We'll
all
go
over the
wherever
place?
will have us.
Yeah, yeah,
we want to get out to as many people as possible. We love new venues. We love new bands. We love all the things that we're very lucky enough to get to do.
yeah,
So anywhere that will have us, we are glad to go.
yeah. Excellent. Where does the name come from, by the way? Scarecrow Hill.
So that we have answered this question for so long. So Scarecrow Hill, it was actually when we were very first trying to start this band, we had a different name and everything, and we had written kind of like this mission statement. It was like partial lyrics, partial just 18-year-old bravado, and
Yeah,
we had used the term Scarecrow Hill as a metaphor because scarecrows they're warning. It's like to stay away from somewhere. It's to keep you out of something, and hills are like steep and hard to climb, and so we use Scarecrow Hill as a metaphor of like we need to get past a Scarecrow Hill into the music business.
yeah.
And it's actually my mom looked at us and was like, "That's your band name. Like that's
Oh, no
that's what
kidding.
your band name should be."
Yeah.
We were like, "All right, we'll give it a shot. It's different." And
Shout out Banks.
Yeah, right.
Love you.
And it's
Speaking
stuck.
of moms, hi moms.
Yes, hi moms. What was the? Do you want to say what the name was before? You say
We were called Standing Room.
because I love hearing about rejected band names. Standing Room.
Yeah.
Why didn't you stick with that?
Honestly, just like I said, when she was like, Scarecrow Hill is a better band name.
Just a better.
We were
better
like,
name,
it does sound kind of cool, actually.
Yeah. I do think it's a better name than Standing Room.
Oh,
yeah.
so do I.
Yeah. No doubt. Well, oh boy, my voice is cracking. Let's do this, which is the perfect time to do this because we were talking about it. Let's play We're in This Together now. I'm so amazed by this. Now, because obviously this is not the full band on this track.
No.
So who else is playing? Who else is doing what on this?
That's Joe Clapp.
Yeah, so myself and our other producer, Joe Clapp, did a lot of stuff. And then there was a lady that we had reached out to a couple of years back, actually, to get some of the original piano pieces, and we just kind of combined everything, and then he and I sat in the booth and did a lot of additional piano and the strings and all that kind of stuff. And
Yeah. No, it's really impressive. So I'm eager to play it. Let's give this a listen. If you're just joining us, Scarecrow Hill is with us here in studio this morning, and this is their cover of Nine Inch Nails. This is called We're in This Together Now.
I've become impossible, holding on to when everything seemed to matter more. The two of us, all used and beaten up, watching fate as it flows down the path we have chose. You and me, we're in this together now. None of them can stop us now. We will make it through somehow. You and me, if the world should break in two, until the very end of me, until the very end of you. Awake to the sound as they peel apart the skin. They pick and they pull, trying to get their fingers in. Well, they gotta kill what we found. Well, they gotta hate what they fear. Well, they gotta make it go away. Well, they gotta make it disappear. The farther I fall, I'm beside you. As lost as I get, I will find you. The deeper the wound, I'm inside you. Forever and ever, I am a part of you and me. We're in this together now. None of them can stop us now. We will make it through somehow. You and me, if the world should
Oh, that's so good. I didn't even want to talk over that slow fade at the end. I was like, no, I got to give that a few more seconds. That's intense. That is so good. Scarecrow Hill is here with us in studio. If you are just joining us, and that is their cover of "We're in This Together Now" by Nine Inch Nails, and yeah, great job on that.
Thank you.
What do you guys have coming up in terms of? Are you already working on material for? I know this album just came out, but you strike me as guys who probably have a lot of ideas. You're probably already working on some new stuff.
Absolutely.
Yep.
We're pretty much constantly. Anytime we put anything out, we'll give it a few months and really hone in on the live part of the show and things that we got to do. But I think genuinely we enjoy writing together so much that we never stop.
Yeah.
We just finished and started polishing a new track a week ago. So,
Oh, no kidding. Yeah.
Well, that's like the exciting part because I'm speaking for myself. I'm kind of the impatient type.
Yeah.
So pretty much, even before we put an album out, we're already kind of looking at the next next new material that we're going to be writing, and we're looking at ways, really, how one we can improve, and two, how we can, I don't know, just moving forward, what we can do to evolve our sound.
Yeah.
Which, I think is awesome.
And there's a lot of time. There's enough time between when you're done writing a batch of songs for a record and the time that comes out. That between that, you're already. I mean, personally, sometimes I get a little fatigued from like the writing and recording process. So like to have like maybe even just like a month to kind of like forget about it is good.
Yeah.
But even still, like once we're done with the writing and recording, even before the next one comes out, it's a lot of the time it's already creative juices are flowing for the next thing.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah.
Exactly. And honestly, it comes at the most random times. I always joke around, like, some of the best ideas come to me in the shower of all places.
Yeah.
And, if that's the case, it could be a day after we put out the new album and already putting down new ideas. Sometimes you're listening to the final mix of the album and you're like, oh, that's a really good idea. All right.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
it's always an evolving process. And that's the thing I think I love most about it. I think we do. I shouldn't even speak for myself.
Yeah,
I think we all.
Absolutely.
Do any of the songs that you guys are working on? Do you end up playing them out live before they've been recorded?
Oh, yeah.
Usually,
Yeah.
We'll test them.
yeah.
Not all, but sometimes, yeah.
Yeah.
There's usually a like if we put out a record that the first three of that trilogy that Ty was talking about earlier was the start of that was the beginning of this iteration of the lineup. So since then there was always like one or two or three that were like the ones that we knew would go over well live, and those were always the ones that we took out and played first before anything came out.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, that makes sense. And then so even though obviously we're in winter, a lot of bands kind of slow down with the live shows, but it sounds like, are you guys going to be continuing to play through the winter?
Yeah, so we've got a few more this month, and then we're taking our first break from live shows in almost 3 years.
Wow.
We're taking the month of February to kind of go home and reassess and re-hone in on some things and get some things lined back up. But then, right the first week of March, we're right back at it. We're back out there. So
Excellent. Good.
it'd be nice to have a little time off, but I'm glad it's the shortest month. So
Right.
We'll
Yeah,
be back.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Well, it seems like you have a lot of momentum, and like I said, the album is great. And then, by the way, do you guys do any covers live? Other than I don't know. I don't know.
Not
if
really,
you do.
no.
Yeah.
No.
I'm just always curious. I always say you can kind of tell a little bit about a band's influences by the covers that they do. But you guys have such an interesting sound and such disparate influences anyway, that which I think is really cool. Is there anybody in the scene, by the way, that you play a lot of shows with? Sometimes it happens organically. You just end up sort of teaming up unofficially with bands, and like who around here do you guys play a lot with?
Well, like we said, we got Rags and Stitches right here in New Hampshire.
Yeah. I finally remembered now why. Jenny, you know why that name is so familiar? We saw them at Spelfie Fest.
Oh.
Rags and Stitches was there. That's why. Okay, so yeah, we will get them on. I'm sorry, I didn't mean, but yeah.
We love those guys, and there's Fear of the Masses out of Connecticut, or good buddies of ours that we play with a lot.
That's a name I've heard. Yeah.
Yeah, they're a phenomenal.
The Grey
phenomenal
Curtain.
band.
Shout out the Grey Curtain.
Oh, we had the Great Curtain on the show. Great band.
Yeah,
Yep.
Great band.
fantastic.
Dennis Slayton is
Great. One of the greatest humans you will ever meet.
Oh, he's
Yep.
awesome. And another guy who too, like, really tries to do something different.
Yes.
Yes.
Like really unique. Oh, love that band.
You cannot say that he is not 100% himself when he's doing what he's doing. He's
Yeah,
not trying to be anything else other than that.
Yeah, exactly.
It's one of the things that we all really seem to love and enjoy about the New England scene is there isn't a whole lot of competition going on like in some scenes around. It's much more of a teamwork thing. A lot of bands that are friends. A lot of bands.
Yes.
Yeah, rising tide lifts all ships.
Yeah.
And we'll go play this show, down in the middle of nowhere, Connecticut, and there's 10 bands on the bill, and 8 of them are bands that we've played 25 shows with. You know what I mean? And guys that we're like genuinely looking forward to seeing. And
Right.
It makes it a lot of fun. It makes it very cool.
Yeah. I always feel like music is very much people are supportive of each other. I always kind of contrast it with stand-up comedy because I listen to some podcasts where you've got these stand-up comics who talk about that industry. And my impression is that in stand-up comedy, everyone is very cutthroat and everyone kind of secretly hates each other. And I feel like music is the opposite of that. Like in music, I mean, don't get me wrong, there are sharks and there are cutthroat people in the music industry too, obviously. But I think generally musicians try to really support each other and bands
Right.
really try to support each other and uplift everybody. So I think that's really cool. And then do you guys what do you guys have coming up? Do you have any shows this weekend that you're playing that you want to plug? Or?
We have so on January 15th, we're actually at the Worcester Palladium with Dropout Kings,
Nice.
and the Browning,
Okay.
which we're very much looking forward to.
Excellent.
And then we got, on the 17th we're in our hometown, which is a rare thing but an awesome thing. We love getting to play there.
Where is that?
That's at a place called the New World Tavern in Plymouth, Mass.
Excellent.
One of the coolest venues on
Is
that
it?
section of Massachusetts. Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
It's like very when you go in the front, it's a very unassuming tavern-looking place, but you go down this little hallway to the back, and there's probably like a 200-person venue with a nice stage, sound set up. It's pretty awesome.
And they
Nice.
treat us very well
Yeah.
there, so we like it.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Well, guys, the time goes so quick. We're already approaching the top of the hour, and I am going to play to end the segment this track, "Wasting Time." Another great song. I really like this one a lot. From the new album, "A Death in the Family" from Scarecrow Hill. But before we let you go, too, what should our listeners know about where to keep up with everything that you're doing online? Where's the best place to go?
I mean, just like anybody else, man. We have the Instagram, Facebook, anywhere there's a band begging for attention, we're on there too.
There you go. All right, guys, thank you so much.